set you free. Set you free. Set you free.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, and I'm back again. And today I just thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about the difference between riding a cruiser and a sport bike. Which you guys know, earlier videos, I started out with the Red Angel, which is my 96 750 Virago. She's still at the house. She's good. Everything's good, you know. Just like I told you in the video, I don't ride her as much anymore because the sport bikes. I love the sport bikes. But anyways, this is actually my first sport bike that I've owned. And not to say that I'm just a seasoned rider or a pro at riding. Just some of the things that I've learned and still learning as I'm riding. The difference between the sport bike and the cruisers, I mean, of course, the whole setup, a cruiser, you're cruising. The sport bike, you're rolling. So one thing I've learned is that on the clutch, when you're, shifting gears, and I'm still learning, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no problem with looking up other videos to get tips from people that have ridden for years and years. And the schools they have, that's why I love YouTube, because you can look up anything and you got those out there that want to help. So the clutch is completely different on the 96 Virago versus this. The clutch on that one, I have to pull that sucker all the way in to shift gears, and the grips on the cruisers are a lot thicker too. So when I got on this it was completely different. It's like I'm pulling the clutch all the way in, and I guess blipping the clutch is how you would do a wheelie. I've been looking at videos on that and just seeing how people will do it or whatever. And because that's what I think I was doing, because I'd pull the clutch in so far and then I go to accelerate and I'd feel it jerk, like she wanted the wheelie. So I'm like, okay, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing here. So needless to say, I had to learn quickly that on this, you find that point to where you don't have to pull the clutch in all the way. It's just you barely pull it and it engages almost immediately. I think once I get my shorty levers on and I adjust it, it'd be a lot easier for me to shift gears. So that was a good thing that I learned real quick, because I'm telling you, man, it was I'm like, man, why does it feel like I'm jerking? Like, I know this thing got power, but I know it ain't like that. It ain't like a R1 or something. So that's one of the differences between the cruiser and this, is actually the clutch. You don't have to pull it in all the way. It engages a lot sooner than it does on the cruiser. Now, it could be different cruisers, because again, mine's a 96 Virago and it is old, but she still look nice and she ride nice. So I had to get used to that. That's one thing. The braking on the Virago versus this, completely different. I mean, it's more of a, it has engine braking on it, but this has great engine braking on it. And on top of that, I watched a couple of videos, and a couple of the guys was like, dude, on the sport bike, I don't even use the back brake. And at first, it's 70-30 is what they say. 70 in the front, 30% in the back that you use on braking. And so I was like, it really stands true to what they say on a sport bike. Versus a cruiser, you can kind of use both, maybe 60-40, whatever. On that one I was riding. So on this, it's correct. You don't have to use the back brake really, unless you're sitting on a hill at a light and you don't want to roll back or something. But for the most part, engine braking, downshifting, I really don't need the brake. I use the front brake pretty much by itself lightly. A lot of people use maybe 2 fingers. On this one, if you'll see, I tend to use just 1 finger, my middle finger. It's better to use my middle finger on this than flipping somebody off, right? Because I used to do that. I used to have a little road rage. But I've grown since then. And yeah, so I only use 1 finger because the braking is so sensitive and nice. You don't want to hit it too hard and flip over the front or lock it up and slide. So that was a big difference. I mean, of course, I think I talked about it before. When you corner, it's different. Now, that's one thing that I was doing wrong. And I looked it up on the videos to see how you're supposed to correctly corner on a sport bike. I learned a lot. There was some guy over in UK that has a school. I think he comes over to California and he has some school and some classes over there too, which was great because it taught me how to corner correctly. Because what I was doing was putting all the weight on the handlebars turning, and I didn't feel safe straight up. That's why I looked it up, because I'm like, man, this don't seem right. You know what I'm saying? It just don't feel safe when I turn. So I looked that up and saw how you're properly supposed to corner and turn on a sport bike. And once I did it and started practicing, it just felt good. The first time I was like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. Again, I have no problem with looking up tips. Even if I was a seasoned veteran at whatever, you can never learn everything. You can't know everything. Stuff is always evolving. Technology, tactics, different things. So I have no problem with looking up other people's stuff and getting tips. So, I mean, that was a major difference. Because, on the cruiser, you just turn the handlebars and you're turning. I'd lean every now and then. It accidentally scuffed my foot peg on the ground because I lean a little too hard sometimes. But, man, they're building up stuff everywhere through here, man. It's freaking crazy. So that's another thing. What else is different from riding? I mean, the power, that speaks for itself. You already know. You can get up out the way quickly. Riding in the rain is a little different. I can say that. I've only rode once, but it was when I first started riding, and yeah, it's a little different, But overall, love the sport bike. Still will be a cruiser rider as well. Now when I get on Red Angel, if y'all didn't know, my Virago is Red Angel and my R6 is Faith. Because you got to keep the faith. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just straight up. You keep the faith, trust in God, and everything will work out, So I still ride Red Angel every now and then. Faith is the one that I normally ride all the time, because I'm still learning her, still learning what we can do and can't do, and I feel a lot more relaxed on here. But not gonna bore y'all. I might have another video later on my progression and what I've learned and do's and don'ts on riding a cruiser versus a sport bike, and what I've learned through my experience. But with that, y'all know me. I'm Outro E. Subscribe. Go ahead and hit that like button, share, and I'm out. But